All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I appreciate you stopping by. Check out my video. Today, we're going to be covering my Premier Ball Living Dex. This has been 4 years in the making, and I am just now posting an update video to my previous video, which I will link somewhere down there. I'm not sure where. But I am just now posting the update to it. This will be updated through Crown Tundra. So I'm full generation behind, but here we go. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Last video that I did covering this, it was on my 3DS, and I had no music, and it was just me, and it's just bleh. I didn't like it. So hopefully this video will be better, a little higher production quality. But yeah. Okay, cool. So, this is it. This is the start of my Premier Ball Living Dex. So, everybody, if you're here and you don't know what a Living Dex is a collection of Pokemon where every Pokemon species has its own slot. So, you can see there, I have a slot for Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, and Venusaur. And that's pretty difficult to do on its own. There's a lot of evolving and leveling up requirements that kind of have to happen to get that. I have a couple extra layers of difficulty added to mine. In addition to having a slot for every species, every Pokemon in the collection, in the Living Dex, is in a Premier Ball when absolutely possible. And we'll go over that as we go through. There are some exceptions. There are some Pokemon that you can't have in any other ball than what it's in. Again, we'll go over those as we kind of get through it. In addition to that, every Pokemon is obtained by me. It has my trainer name on it, Static. So there were no trades that happened with other people to make this happen. It was all done by me. In addition to that, all forms able to be stored in Pokemon Home are included. So just a couple quick examples that come to mind. As you can see, Alolan forms, regional forms, Galarian forms, all of the Vivillon forms, Pikachu hats. I also included gender differences that require or that cause major sprite differences. An example that comes to mind immediately is Hippowdon, the male and female. Or another one is Pyroar. The male and females for both of those families and others have entirely different sprites. So if there was a large difference in sprites, then I included that. Obviously, Spendiform's not included because it's not a major sprite change. Minor sprite differences are not included. For instance, Wobbuffet male and Wobbuffet female. The difference between the two is Wobbuffet female has lipstick. Is not included. Another example is Pikachu male has the tail that you see there, third from the left on the bottom row. Female Pikachu, however, has a heart-shaped tail. That is not a major sprite difference and is not included. That's a little subjective, but it is what it's going to be. So you see down in the bottom left the Premier Ball. The ball there, that means it's in a Premier Ball. In the middle, the bottom middle, you see Static, which is my trainer name. And really, that's all you got to pay attention to as we kind of go through this. And we'll talk about some of my favorites and some of the ones that were kind of difficult to get. And a lot of the stuff that I'll be saying was the same as the last video. So if you didn't see it, I'll go, like I said, that'll be linked somewhere in the description below, as well as earlier in the video. Let's get to it. You have Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur. We'll just kind of go this way. And you can see these are all in Premier Balls. Nothing too particularly impressive in this box. You do have all the different hat Pikachus. This one was the new one that they released in the last distribution of hat Pikachus. But you have all 8 of them. These cannot be in Premier Balls, obviously. They're in Pokeballs, that's how they come, and you can't have them in Premier Balls, so they're not. Nothing particularly impressive there, just some different Galarian or Alolan forms. Yeah, the wild thing about this is I had a Living Dex that was up through Generation 6 or 7. I think it was up through Generation 6. And it was just a hodgepodge of whatever I had in my collection. Pardon me. And my best friend, he got me into doing the whole Premier Ball thing. It started out with him goading me into getting 999 Premier Balls, which in Generation 7 is a pretty tedious task. You're buying them 10 at a time. You're buying 10 Pokeballs at a time to get one Premier Ball. And yeah, it's super tedious. You have to buy so many Pokeballs. I mean, it ends up netting out free, but still super tedious. Thankfully, they've made it easier in Gen 8. But that's how it started. And then it kind of evolved into getting a Premier Ball Living Dex. And yeah, that's how so that's what started this 3.5, 4-year journey where you are right now. Again, nothing really too impressive here. First generation's pretty meh. The fossils here are kind of cool. You could get the fossils in Dream World. I never had access to the Dream World, so what I did is I traded for fossils that were in Premier Balls, and then bred them. So and you've got your Galarian Articuno there. I played through the Crown Tundra DLC very quickly in order to get these guys. Big pain in my butt. Big pain, big pain. So Mew is not available. So Mew was available in Generation 4 as part of an event that I wasn't a part of. You could have caught it in a Premier Ball in that event back in Generation 4. I did not. It is currently no longer available, so I didn't. Or no, it was Generation 3. Definitely didn't have access to it then. And so I don't have it, and it's not currently legal anymore. So I would have to hack the event, and yeah, that's out of the scope of this Pokédex. Now we're into Generation 2. Again, nothing really of note yet until the Unknowns. So Unknown is a Mirage Island only Pokemon. You could get them in Generation 7 and Ores using the Mirage Island feature. You could also have gotten them in the Sevii Islands in Generation 3 and then just move them up. It was far easier for me to just find an unknown Mirage Island and just get them all there. So that was a bit of a pain, and that gets you these two as well. And nothing too particularly Galarian Corsola, nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy here. So Celebi also not available in a Premier Ball. Don't know when that will happen, but it's currently not possible. So it's just existing as is. Yeah, so it's not in a Premier Ball. We'll kind of go into details. Some of the mythicals are available in a Premier Ball, and I'll explain how and kind of how that impacts all the rest of the mythicals. So let's talk about Ninjask. I covered this in my last video, but Ninjask in Generation 4 and above is not, you cannot get it in a Premier Ball. So the way Shedinja. We're talking about Shedinja. Shedinja was not able to be in any ball other than a Pokeball in Generations 4 and on. In Generation 3, however, you could. So the way that you get Shedinja is that you evolve a Nincada into a Ninjask. And the way that you got Shedinja is that if you had an open spot in your party, you would just get a free Shedinja. And in Generation 4 and on, it just puts it in a Pokeball. However, in Generation 3, Shedinja goes into whatever ball that Ninjask was in. You can see where I'm going with this. So I had to go all the way to Generation 3, boot up my Generation 3 game. I believe I did it in Emerald. Go catch a Nincada and a Premier Ball. Level it up to 20 so that it evolved to get a Premier Ball Shedinja, and then move it through Generations 4, 5, 6, 7, and ultimately into Generation 8 in order to get a Premier Ball Shedinja. And that is the only way to get a Premier Ball Shedinja as of right now. I don't believe they reintroduced Shedinja into Generation 8, so when I got it, that was the only way to do it. So a little bit of Pokemon trivia there for you. Nothing particularly impressive there. Again, nothing too particularly impressive until here. Okay. So Jirachi, not available as in a Premier Ball, not available in anything other than a Cherish Ball. But let's talk about Deoxys for a minute. So when Deoxys came out in Generation 3, it was a mythical. You got it in a Cherish Ball. If you had access to the Birth Island event in Generation 3, you could have caught it in a Premier Ball. I did not have access to it, and as a kid, I always just hacked the game to unlock it, and then went and caught my Deoxys that way. Not legal, not, not ideal for this. And that was the case all the way through until Generation 7 when they released Oraz. And after you beat the game in Oraz, you started a post-game chapter called Delta Attack? Chapter Delta? I don't remember. Anyway, you play through that and you go through, the story is there. I mean, it's been years, so I'll just go ahead and say it. There's a meteor headed towards Earth, and the whole chapter there, Delta episode, that's what it's called. The whole episode is based on trying to prevent the meteor from hitting Earth. And you go through the story, and eventually you end up riding on the back of Mega Rayquaza to intercept this meteor. And you do so successfully. And after you do that, you face off with Deoxys in space. And you can catch that Deoxys in anything you want, including a Premier Ball. So for the first time since Generation 3, Deoxys was available in a Premier Ball. Well, I need 4 of them because he has 4 forms, and they all have to be obtained by me. So in order for me to get 4 Premier Ball Deoxys with my trainer name, I had to play through Omega Ruby 4 times. And I did that one right after the other. I know the dungeons in Omega Ruby and Sapphire by heart now, and can almost clear most of them with my eyes closed. It was an obscene amount of effort put in just for these 4 Pokemon. Absolutely unreal, completely wild. There was another way that just recently became viable to get Deoxys in a Premier Ball, and that was Pokemon Go. However, I did not catch Deoxys in Pokemon Go because I wasn't playing Pokemon Go at the time that it came out, and instead decided to play Omega Ruby 4 times. Back to back to back to back. We're going to continue on through here. All of Gen 4, nothing too notable. Here you can see what I was talking about. Total sprite difference between Hippopotas, male and female Hippopotas, and male and female Hippowdon. That's why I included both separate forms. You have all 5 forms of Rotom. Junchina. Phione and Manaphy, I don't believe were available in anything other than Pokeballs or Cherish Balls. You could get them one of 2 ways. You could get a Manaphy from Pokemon Ranger and then breed it to get a Phione, both of which would be in Pokeballs. Or there was an event for both, which gave them to you in Cherish Balls. But they are not available in Premier Balls. However, Darkrai, up until being able to trade with Pokemon Go, transfer rather, was not available in Premier Balls. So Darkrai is now available in a Premier Ball. I do not have one because I started playing after the last round of Darkrai raids, so I don't have a Premier Ball Darkrai. They're mythical, so you can't trade them in Pokemon Go. So I will have to wait until they come around again. And once they do, I will replace this one with a Premier Ball. Until then, it just kind of sits. Shaymin and Arceus, both were available in Generation 4 with events in which you could have caught them in a Premier Ball. I did not, so I do not have either of them. Victini also, same story. So I don't have any of those in Premier Balls. They were once capable of being in a Premier Ball, but without hacking or using other nefarious means, I have no way of getting them, so I don't. It's just kind of is what it is. We're continuing on through here. All of these starters here were available in Sun and Moon, or Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, I forget which, through Island Scan. Continuing along here. Again, nothing too particularly surprising or impressive. So we'll talk about these. Up until Generation 8, Archon and Archeops were not available in anything other than a Premier Ball. I think Caracosta and Tortuga were both available in the Dream World, which you could catch them in a Premier Ball if you so chose. But Archon and Archeops were never included, and they were not until Generation 8 with the newest expansion for Crown Tundra. So we've recently updated our Archon and our Archeops with Premier Ball additions, thanks to Crown Tundra. Just continuing on through here. There's nothing particularly exciting on this page or noteworthy. Kind of moving along pretty quickly here. Swords of Justice, all of the Forces of Nature, Zekrom, Reshiram, Landorus, Kyurem. Alright, let's talk about Keldeo. Keldeo is another Pokemon that up until Generation 8, with the newest release of Crown Tundra, was not available in anything other than a Cherish Ball. However, thanks to Crown Tundra, you can catch a Keldeo. They're 1 per save file, so because I have 2, I had to play through twice in order to get both forms. I will not spoil how to get it, but it is catchable in Crown Tundra, and you can do so in whatever ball you like. I chose, obviously, Premier Balls. So we updated our Kelios with Premier Ball additions. Meloetta, though, is only available in Cherish Ball. Genesect is another Pokemon that was available in Pokemon Go and a Premier Ball, and was only recently legal to have in Pokemon Home, as Pokemon Go just recently introduced transfer functionality maybe a month or two ago. Unfortunately, I missed the Genesect raids for the same reason that I missed the Arceus raids, so I will have to wait until they come around again in order to get one, and once we do, we will update the Living Dex here. So we have all of these. Ash Greninja I consider a different form than regular Greninja, and it was only available in a Pokeball through the Gen 6 demo, I believe it was. Or maybe it was the Oras demo. I don't really remember which, but you can only get it via a demo, and it was only available in a Pokeball. And now here was probably one of the most time-consuming portions of the Living Dex, is getting all of the forms of Vivillon. So I have them all. They're split up between 2 boxes, unfortunately, but they're all there. So the way that Vivillon works is Vivillon is a Gen 6 Pokemon that was introduced with X and Y. And the way that Vivillon works is its pattern is dependent upon the region that you have set in your 3DS. And that is set when you create the save file. So you will always catch the same pattern Vivillon until you change the region in your Dex, in your 3DS, and then restart your game. At which point you could get a different pattern Vivillon. And you may be thinking, well, that's easy. Why don't you just do that 18 times and be done with it? The problem is that there are several different regions of 3DS, and not a single 3DS has access to all the selectable regions for Vivillon forms. So it requires you to trade with other people with other regions of 3DS in order to get all the patterns of Vivillon. And you might be thinking, well, if you do that, it won't have your trainer name. So how did you do that? Well, the pattern for Vivillon is assigned when you start the game, and the trainer name is assigned when you catch the Pokemon. However, when you create an egg, the trainer name is not assigned until you hatch the egg. But the pattern is set when you create the egg. So what I ended up doing is I ended up utilizing Reddit and reaching out to people all across the world, requesting them to breed me a Spupa, a Scatterbug, in a Premier Ball, and trade me the egg. At which point I would hatch the egg and level it to whatever level needed to evolve it. I think it's 15, 16, whatever. At which point it would have the pattern. And I just did that until I had all the forms. So that probably took about 8 months to get all of those. And then you obviously have the events here, which are available in Cherish Ball and Pokeball, respectively. The Flabébés and Floettes and Florges. These are pretty cool because there's many different colors. There's 5 different colors. So I went through the effort to get all of those. There is another Floette, AZ's Floette, which you cannot get legally. It was never released. So not legally obtainable. But it was in the data. They just never released it. Furfrou, its different forms are not storable in Bank, so even though it has like 8 different forms, none of them are included. Just going through quickly here. I believe that Tyrantrum, Amara, and Aurorus were available in Premier Balls for the first time, again thanks to Crown Tundra. They were not previously able to be obtained in anything other than Pokeballs because they were fossils. So we recently updated to Premier Ball editions. You will have all 4 sizes of Pumpkaboo and Gourgeist. And you have Diancie, Hoopa, and Volcanion, none of which are available in anything other than Cherish Balls. The different Zygardes. Zygarde Perfect Form is Battle Form, so it's not included. On through Generation 7. Nothing particularly notable here. So let's talk about Lycanroc for a minute. So Lycanroc Dusk Form was an event given out where Rockruff had a special ability called Own Tempo. And if it had Own Tempo, it is a special ability. It is not a hidden ability. And it is not its normal ability. It's a special ability that is breedable. So you could breed Rockruff to create more Own Tempo Rockruffs. So you could go through and breed both a Premier Ball and Own Tempo onto a Rockruff, and then subsequently evolve it into a Dusk form Lycanroc. And that's how you get a Dusk form Lycanroc in a Premier Ball. And just going through here. You have all 7 different colors of Minior. The Meteor form is not storable on Pokemon Bank, unfortunately. Cosmog and Cosmoem, neither of which are available in anything other than Pokeballs. We have all of the beasts, the Ultra Beasts plus Necrozma, Magearna, and Marshadow and Poipole and Naganadel, none of which were available in anything other than the Pokeballs you see here. Stektaktaka, Lustafon, Zorora, again, not available in anything other than Cherish Ball. Let's talk about Melmetal and Meltan. So, Pokemon Go has always had the capability to trade or transfer to Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. And Melmetal and Meltan were both usable in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. So, when they released Meltan and Melmetal, you are able to import those into Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, at which point they would go to the whatever facility, the Go facility that replaced the Safari Zone. And then you could go in and you could put them wherever, and then if you wanted to take them with you, you had to catch them in a Pokeball. So I had to evolve a Melmetal in Pokemon Go, which is difficult enough. It takes 400 Meltan candies, which requires a lot of Meltan to obtain. Just gonna say it. It's like 99 Meltan it requires, and it's just obscene the amount of Meltans that are required. And I did it before they buffed the Mysterious Box. Now you get like 60 Meltan out of a box. You used to get like 7 or 8. You used to not get a lot, and that's when I created it. That's when I gathered the candies necessary to evolve it. So yeah, once you trade these to Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, you have to catch them in a ball. You can't do damage to them, and they're not automatic catches, so you just have to keep throwing balls at them until it catches, or it runs, in which case you have to try again. You have berries you can use, just like Pokemon Go, which make it easier, but it was still an ordeal to finally get a Melmetal in a Premier Ball, at which point we imported from Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee to Pokemon Home. Obviously, the Gen 8 starters have not yet been released in anything other than a Pokeball. So those are that. And we're coming up on the end of Generation 8 here. All these Pokemon, nothing too noteworthy. until you get to Sinistea and Poltegeist. Everybody probably knows the difference, why there's 2 Sinesteas and why there's 2 Poltergeists, even though they look almost exactly the same. That's because one is authentic and one is imposter. And the only way to tell is by looking at the bottom of the cup or trying to evolve it. Authentic and imposter both evolve using different items, so it's super easy to tell which kind you have based on the item that you use. And getting both in a Premier Ball just involved catching a lot of Sinesteas in Premier Balls and then trying to evolve them until I found one that would evolve. So a little bit of a pain in the neck, but not too bad. And now there's nothing particularly noteworthy until you get to Alcremie. So Alcremie has 7 different candy decorations and 9 different flavors. I consider all of those different forms, and so I needed 63 Alcremies plus a Milcery. And in order to get those were pretty easy for one set. I could just catch one Alcremie in a Pokeball and then breed it 63 times and get all of my Milceries. But getting the items necessary for them were a little difficult. Thankfully, when I did it, there was a Milcery event going on, in which point you got candies as raid rewards. So I got all of my candies. I actually got enough Milcery candies to do 2 entire sets. And so I went ahead and caught 64 G-Max Milcery, and I evolved 2 full sets of Alcremie. 1 G-Max set in Pokeballs and 1 just bred in Premier Balls. And then they turn around and make it so that all Pokemon that can G-Max can unlock their G-Max ability with 3 Max Mushrooms, which invalidated all of the effort that I went through for the G-Max Alcremies that I assembled. So that kind of sucked. But here we have all of the Alcremies. All of the different forms, all the different flavors. Now let's talk about the fossils for a minute. So all of the Gen 8 fossils, again, were available for the first time in raids, thanks to Crown Tundra, which meant you could catch them in any Pokeball you wanted. So very quickly, I caught Dracovish, Arctovish, and Dracozolt. Arctozolt, however, wanted to be difficult. There's one raid den in Crown Tundra that you can have the 4 Gen 8 fossils in. They only spawn in that particular den, and they only spawn as rare beams, purple beams. I spent weeks and so many wishing pieces farming that den for an Arctozolt. And it wasn't until I had the bright idea to start farming on my second game and just set them both up with rare beams and then check them every day that the Arctozolt spawned like on the second day, on my second switch, on my shield game or my sword game. So naturally, that's how that works. So that was a bit of a pain. And then we have the different Cubfoos, which I played through the story of Armor Vial 3 times to get all 3 different ones. Zarude, not available in anything other than a Cherish Ball as it was just released. Then Regieleki, Regidrago, Glastier, Spectrier, and Calyrex. And that's it. That is a Living Dex in nothing but Premier Balls whenever possible. All with my trainer name and every significant form difference included. This was 4 years in the making that I just recently finished a couple weeks ago and have just now had time to record this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the history involved in this, in in putting this thing together. I certainly enjoyed the experience of it, even though it took 4 years. I learned a lot about Pokemon and the history kind of involved in it. So yeah, this is a bit of point of pride for me. I really enjoyed it. I'm very proud of it. Again, took 4 years of effort. There's not many people out there that would spend that amount of time doing something. So call me crazy, call me dumb, call me dedicated, whatever you like. But this is kind of something I'm really proud of, and I'm happy I'm able to share it with you guys. If you guys really enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. I also have a Twitch channel where I stream 3 times a week. I also have a Twitter and a Facebook, all of which I will link in the description. So if you so choose, you can find me any of those places. I would really like to see you guys in the chat anytime you guys feel like you can stop by. Well, yeah, definitely hit that subscribe button, and I'm going to try to post more on YouTube. It seems like that's the quickest and easiest way to grow on Twitch, and that's what I need to start doing. So I appreciate the time you guys have spent with me today. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video. I think that's it. Be safe, wear a mask, don't do anything I wouldn't do, which leaves you guys wide open. Thanks for watching, and have a great time till next time. Bye.